We back? I think. I think it was OBS crashed. Like, Streamlabs just crashed out of nowhere. It was not the equipment. It was not us. Streamlabs just decided they had enough. I want to make sure that everything's back up and running, so I'm going to wait for somebody to say something, potentially. Help me out. All fine now? Alright. Yeah, Streamlabs crashed. As soon as I start talking it up, it just... But yeah, anything we make from the stream, donations, subs, bits, everything, goes back into production experience. So like the last big purchases, new webcam, new microphone, ring lighting, all that sort of stuff comes from you guys. Anything that I open in chests all goes back into that. Not here to make money. I'm here to make an experience. So, is there anything we wanted to change up? I don't think so. I think we can just run it back the same way. See what it looks like. Four one's a pretty good test league, so I can't complain there. Love to play first. It's not bad. Oh god, Ice 9 indeed. Well, we know what they're playing. For those of you who don't know, Ice 9 is a very, very infamous red-white land destruction player. We'll see if we can bait out a mana tithe. Alright, we're probably dead. Not hitting our second land against the land destruction deck. Probably a bad sign for us. Stubborn Denial may give us one more draw step. No. No. But we need to hit, like, running fetch lands. Yeah, double Stone Rain, Ghostly Prison, or double Molten Rain, Ghostly Prison with an Oust. We just needed lands. That might have been a reason to reconsider that keep. Keeping a one-lander against Ice 9. Yeah. Alright. Sounds pretty good. So I guess we'll just start taking some of these strip mine effects. So I guess now we have to take an oust. Forgot about Boom Bust. I don't know why I was thinking that was more mana. And he's got the mana tithe. Alright, we'll just take mana tithe. We in for the long haul, boys. Well, we're only 3 turns away, or 4 turns away from discarding to hand size and making this Tarmogoyf a little better. And our opponent does have a lot of dead draws in their deck. Like, lands are dead, land destruction spells are dead. If we draw fetch land... Never mind. Fetch land dead. The little Lurgoyf who could. Alright. No, we can't even cycle. God, that's... Oh. Are you shouting or talking? A little bit of both. A little bit of both. I'm just excited for Death Shadow. It is, in fact, Ice 9. Little 3/4 Tarmogoyf getting there. How badly do we need a Veil of Summer for Stone Rain effects? Oh, well. Nope. Definitely not keeping a no-lander against them. I don't think I can afford to keep this. Play around that mana tithe. does have oust. So I guess I got to take that and kind of like hope for an answer to Ghostly Prison. Take out Dismember. I could, but I've got to board something in if I take out Dismember. And, like, there aren't things that I would rather have. Maybe Abrupt Decay's a little bit better. But, like, Dismember still leaving us with a little bit of explosiveness isn't the worst thing in the world. Stubborn Denial off the top. Alright, so I'm going to play out Tarmogoyf here. Because if my opponent plays Ghostly Prison next turn, I can pay to attack through Ghostly Prison and play Gurmag Angler. If I play Gurmag, I can't pay for Ghostly Prison and play Tarmogoyf. This opponent going to choose to play around Dismember. Which ironically would be pretty good right here. Well, I guess if I can only attack with one creature after this, that Shadow's probably the one I want to be attacking with. So we know he's got Ghostly Prison and 2 unknowns. Double boon there's a little rough. So I'll keep Gurmag, ditch Tarmogoyf. Now, if he goes Ghostly Prison, I ditch ditch Gurmag, keep the Shadow. Or I guess I can keep. No, because if I draw a fetch land, I need to be able to attack with the shadow now. Alright. If he draws dead, we're like a fetch land away from having a chance here. Never mind. We dead. Rough. Rough, rough, rough. Alright, what do we got for round number 2? Hopefully something cool. Not Ice 9 land destruction cool, but something unique. Maybe something we haven't seen in a bit. Let's find out. Urinal Mike. My arch nemesis. So, like, this is basically a mold to 6. I think we can do better. Like, on the play, game 1... we really need to, like, be focusing on doing something proactive. Alright, so we're looking for... do I want Fatal Push? Guess Fatal Push is okay. Inquisition's not bad. I do have Snapcaster. So this looks like another Stoneblade. Jeskai Stoneblade. Alright. So our best case scenario, we would like to find Tarmogoyf wouldn't be bad. Thoughtseize, Inquisition. It's like I just don't want to put this Gurmag out here when I know my opponent has Snapcaster for their Path to Exile. Now, like, obviously anything I cast to stop that, they're going to have interaction for. Like, if I Thoughtseize here, they do get to Spell Queller this. Yeah. All right. Fatal push off the top. Oh, I guess that does... No, it doesn't stop. Spell Queller plus a sword. So, looks like the question is about the push. I guess there's two ways to approach the answer to that. Answer number one is if your opponent makes a mistake and getting Batter Skull is a mistake, then pushing after they search is better. If my opponent gets the correct sword or the correct equipment, which is Sword of Feast and Famine, then it doesn't matter if I wait until they search or not. So if we're talking about letting my opponent have the opportunity to make the mistake of get Batter Skull, sure, waiting is fine. And probably better. But if we're talking about the optimal line out of them, which is getting Feast and Famine, then it doesn't matter. So all that to say, yes, if we're not giving our opponent the if we're not assuming they're making the correct line, then waiting is correct. I was kind of hoping I would flip over a piece of hand disruption there. It's like I don't really want to play this Gurmag Angler out without Stubborn Denial. Stoneforge Mystic players love their Batter Skulls, so they'll make it a fair amount of time. That is a fair assessment. Certainly not disagreeing with that idea. Kind of get to put them in an awkward situation where if they want to spend their entire turn like going to put a sword into play, you just get to like hit them for a good chunk of damage. It's like block, put a sword in. Sure. Block, sword plus path. No. Alright, so I am going to bobble now because I want to give myself the chance to draw like another Stubborn Denial. So this is just playing something to equip the sword onto. That's a pretty good one. So, how do I want to do this? I could fetch Abrupt Decay the sword. Just to cast Abrupt Decay on the sword. That way fetching doesn't matter. And I don't think I want to play out this Gurmag Angler just because of the potential of something like Supreme Verdict. I'd rather have the ability to untap, play out a lethal threat. This looks like it's just Cryptic Command, try to tap down your team. So, do you have Force of Negation as well? Nope. Alright. EE is a possibility. It doesn't seem great. So I think I'm just going to resubmit. Stoneforge is doo-doo. I wouldn't call it doo-doo, but I would certainly say it hasn't had the impact in Modern that people thought it would once it got unbanned. Nice win there. Been a minute since I saw Celestial Colonnade. Right, we've seen two Colonnade decks today in, I think this is the 7th match. No Veils. No Veils. They're not really great here when your opponent's removal of choice is like Path to Exile, then maybe like Celestial Purge, Oust, something like that. Like, if our opponent was playing more counter spells, I'd be a little more inclined to have Veil. So we're just taking Path here. Like, we see Sulfur Falls this game. We saw Glacial Fortress and Celestial Colonnade last game, so there's a chance that my opponent's not on Mystic Sanctuary. They did scry to the top, so it's probably a land. Alright. I don't really want to Gurmag into a known petty theft. So, Brazen Borrower, Dovin's Veto. See what they do for this. Now they can petty theft Gurmag, but we do get to untap and play Shadow. Now we've got a live Fatal Push to kill Brazen Borrower. So I'm kind of expecting this to just be cast Brazen Borrower. Alright. So if our opponent attacks us with the Brazen Borrower, it means they're dead on board to the Shadow. And we've got Stub, Snap, Stub. So I think I'm going to let this resolve and not push. And then if they don't cast anything, that's a very bold attack. So, alright. I could Snap Drown the Snapcaster, but if my opponent has got a Path to Exile in hand, I tap myself out. So I don't want to Snap Drown. So I will just stub this. Fatal Push this. Bobble you for whatever reason. Untap and kill you. So our cards we were drawing into... Guess it doesn't want me to look. Never mind. We may or may not have drawn into something. We might have drawn all the cards in our deck and we just didn't know about it. We could have been decking ourselves. Opponent just scooped it up. They didn't even want to see if we had no cards left in library. Mind showing the list some more? Sure. We can do that before the next round. So here is the current list. The list was sent to me by one of our viewers, A_Otec, EYYYY_OTEC. They have been enjoying this Sultai list. A little more threat density with Tarmogoyfs and Gurmag Anglers. You typically think of the two kind of clashing. Hadn't really come up this league or any of the games in the last league or this league. The benefit of Sultai is the threat density is a little higher than it is in Grixis. The mana base is a little better than it is in 4-color. Get to run things like Snapcaster that you don't usually see in a lot of the 4-color lists. The black card in the 2-drop slot. So, Rite of Consumption, the sorcery speed fling effect, obviously. And I know you're going to look at this card and say it's bad or it doesn't seem great in your Death Shadow deck. And I'm not saying I disagree, but between the first league and now, it has won us, I think, 3 or 4 games. So, if nothing else, it's hilarious. Like, we Rite of Consumption is Shadow over Field of the Dead tokens against Blue-Red Titan or Blue-Green Titan. We consumptioned a token, a 1/1 token we got back off of Skyclave Apparition against Taxes when they were at 1. We consumptioned against Jeskai Ascendancy when we had an attack with a Tarmogoyf and a Gurmag. They were at 11. We were attacking for 10, put them down to 1, and got to consumption for the lethal point. So it's been funny. I'm not going to make any claims as to whether it's optimal or anything like that, but it's been fun to play it. I can say that it did earn us a 48 tick or whatever it is, Karn the Great Creator. So, if that makes it worth it in my book. Alright, so Valakut Awakening could mean Charbelcher. It could mean the Jeskai Lotus Field deck. And I think with either one, we're kind of looking for a lot of the same stuff. Namely, a threat. There's our answer. All right. So we'll take Valakut Awakening. Kind of the reasoning is they're going to have to use this Manamorphose before they cast Charbelcher, more than likely, so that gets a card into their graveyard to potentially turn on Drown in the Lock. So my thinking is between Valakut Awakening, Charbelcher, Manamorphose. If I can just get them to draw into like a ritual or something, then this Drown in the Lock can counter a top deck Charbelcher. So we'll take Charbelcher so that our opponent doesn't just like run off a what's that stupid spell called? Ironcrag Feet off the top. So that's 3 cards in the yard. We know this Thoughtseize is going to be able to at least take a Turn Timber Symbiosis. That's one of their draws. Unless they're like hard casting a Simian Spirit Guide here. I can't think of why you would shock in or bolt in. Is that what we're calling it now? Bolting in these lands? Bolt in an Emeria. Because you can only cast a 3-drop. Shatter Skull Smashing. Huh. Was not on my radar. Was not on my radar at all. Goyf and Gurmag doesn't seem optimal, but as you said, seems fun. I mean, I would say, like, it's definitely not optimal in theory. But between Thoughtseize, Inquisition, Stubborn Denial, Drown in the Loch, like, you're getting a lot of card types in your opponent's graveyard just from you playing the game. And I think that has to at least be considered. All right, 3 Charbelchers down. See how quickly our opponent, like, windmill slammed that Charbelcher? It's like, oh my god, Charbelcher. One more indeed. That is not it. So we could Snapcaster a Thought Scour. But I think I would rather save this Snapcaster to potentially hit like a Drown in the Loch and naturally draw my my threat. Because I'm actually pretty terrified of snapping a Thought Scour and having my opponent just, like, draw something relevant. And we've only seen 1 shadow so far in 24 cards. So, like, there's a decent chance that we should find another threat between 3 Gurmag, 4 Tarmogoyf, 3 more Shadow, plus like 3 Scours or redraws, 2 Baubles or Scries. And I don't really know if my opponent has a win condition past the 4 Charbelchers, besides just, like, hitting us in the face with Simian Spirit Guides. I guess they do have, like, more Shatter Skull smashings and things like that. So that's possible. All right. I guess eventually they are going to get to enough mana to just be able to, like, Amiria or turn Timber us. Alright. Something we got there. We have milled over our basic island, but we've not milled over the basic swamp. Fourth copy of Goblin Charbelcher. Alright. So, I do think it's kind of funny, if we're talking about percentage odds there, that we saw 2 threats in the top 26 cards of our deck when we had 4 Shadow, 4 Tarmogoyf, 3 Gurmag, and I guess you could count, I don't know, now we're not going to count the 2 Snapcasters. So 11 potential, and we saw 2 in the top 26. Our opponent saw all 4 of their Charbelchers in the top 16. So, not a conspiracy thing. I just thought that was kind of funny. For anybody who's new to the channel, we do have a running gag around here about giving our opponent like a draw step and or a draw step to find whatever they need to kill us. And it happens a surprisingly high amount of the time. I think I've got to ship this. Like, we've got threats, but we have no interaction of any time or any kind. And they're just going to goldfish way faster than we're going to be able to kill them. Still lol, stop crying. I'll not say I'm crying. I just enjoy percentages. Opponent is ripping a Charbelcher off the top. Yeah. Save this Thoughtseize for the Charbelcher. So next turn they could go Land, Spirit Guide, Desperate Ritual, Ironcrag Feet, Charbelcher. So I just need to take 1 between the Ritual and the Simian Spirit Guide. I guess the Spirit Guide is better because they can play it out as a threat. Opponent angrily looking at that Charbelcher off the top of their deck. Like, no, why is this here? We could be greedy and Inquisition away the Ritual and kind of hope that they're not going to rip a a ritual or something off the top, and then we could Thoughtseize next turn, take the Charbelcher, and just like make sure that we get value off of this Inquisition. Land. Alright. Inquisition, everything else doesn't really do anything for us. Guess I could Thought Scour them. I might hit over like another Charbelcher. Take a ritual, or no, take Valakut Awakening. That's way better. Alright. And now we wait. Fetch land. Fetch land. Guess we can Thought Scour them again. Kind of same reasoning. Be more mana efficient. Play out Tarmogoyf this turn. So our best draws are Snapcaster, Thoughtseize, Stubborn Denial, Drown in the Lock. Anything like that. Trophying their red source doesn't do anything because they have double ritual. So, like, I'm not cutting them off of mana. Have you ever tested any of your list Varolz? I've heard of people trying it. I haven't. Like, I think the idea behind Varolz is kind of cool, but again, it's another card that kind of relies on a few things being in place for it to be good. Like, okay, you have to have a creature on the graveyard. You have to have Varolz on the field. You have to have Varolz live. You have to have a creature to scavenge on, too. That creature, like, has to be Death Shadow. Tarmogoyf on a Varolz is okay, but, like, can't Varolz with a Gurmag Angler or something like that. Are we dead? Either we're dead or you're dead. Alright. Could have played Shadow, then dismembered it to make it bigger for quicker clock than playing Ghost first. I don't think it would have changed the clock, but I wanted the ability to leave up the most mana possible on the next turn to give myself the most outs. So, like, I know I'm not interacting with them this turn. So, playing out the Tarmogoyf is just mana efficient. And then if I draw something like a Stubborn Denial next turn, I can Shadow, dismember my Shadow, plus Stubborn Denial. Instead of just Tarmogoyf. Or like if I drew Drown in the Lock, I wouldn't be able to Drown in the Lock plus a threat. Raging Tilt Monster. We will put that to the test. Lava Spike me in the face. Alright, so how's this going to play out? I could take a bolt, play out a shadow. I could... The difference between Bolt and Boros Charm doesn't matter right now. Like the fact that Boros Charm's 4 damage instead of 3. So I think I just have to take the most efficient burn spell available. Play Polluted Delta so that I can Stubborn Denial if I need to. So I'm kind of trying to leverage the fact that most of his burn spells are sorcery speed right now. Alright, if opponent draws a land, they die. They had to have drawn something dead, right? Like, there's zero reason to pass the turn into another blue mana if they drew a burn spell. Alright. So I was going to say, we couldn't crack Polluted Delta. We couldn't tap Nurturing Peatland to play, like, Cling to Dust or something. So if they drew 2 burn spells, there was no reason not to fire them off on their turn. Alright, so Abrupt Decay is okay. Wraiths are bad. Dismembers come out because we're bringing in better removal. So EE or Trophy. On the draw, Trophy's probably fine. Wagner, how's the last league? We were 4-1 in the first league. We lost match number 5 to Blue-White Control. That's the matchup that the Rakdos version sucks. You mean against Burn? Grim Lavamancer. Since I've got double Fatal Push, I'm just going to go ahead and push this. So like if my opponent untaps and plays an Eidolon, I've got answers for it. Bolt me, sure. Alright. So them having 3 lands in hand means they kept a 4-lander, I'm guessing with Lavamancer Bolt. And I'm no expert, but I can't imagine a world in which that's a good enough hand to keep. Like, nothing about that hand just screams like, yeah, this is good. Yeah. Since I know 2 of their 3 cards are lands, I can just go for it there. GG easy. I wouldn't say easy. There were some considerations in there. All right, match number 5 this league. Back-to-back 4-1s wouldn't be bad. Yeah, I guess we'll keep this. If we're thinking of rights like a really downgraded Battle Rage, then maybe this is okay. Alright. Taking Manamorphose because the rest of their hand isn't great against me here. So I'm just going to try to, like, maximize their inability to draw out of it. That Swift Spear makes things pretty bad for me. Street Wraith is a really interesting draw here because now there's a chance my opponent goes like Burst Lightning, Flashback, Lava Dart to try to kill my Shadow. Like, I don't think they should, since they just, like, have lethal burn, but... Alright. So, like, Mana Leak better on the play. Not fetching for Overgrown Tomb. I mean, my hand wasn't revolving around Overgrown Tomb. My hand was revolving around Shadows and needing Stubborn Denials. Like, you're still a blue-black base deck, even with Tarmogoyf. So I don't see a reason to fetch Overgrown Tomb first, especially on a one-lander. EE's good, but I don't really want both of them because everything that you want to hit is one. So if you have to sit here and play defensively the entire game, like, you're not getting in a good position to win. And the only creature that you really care about stopping is Stormwing Entity. And since EE doesn't stop Stormwing, I don't want to, like, minimize my ability to deal with that card. Basic Swamp. Like, how bad does EE look right here? So I'm mana leaking this because the rest of my opponent's hand is not good against me. And kind of like the first game, I want to minimize the ability of them to draw out of it. So this is 4, 5, put me to 9 against 4 points of burn. I think that's fine. Yeah, so like EE most of the time is going to be 3 mana to hopefully clear multiple creatures if they have just like a plethora of 1-drops. But there's going to be a lot of times that it's like 3 mana, kill 1/1/1. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 exactly. So my hope here is that opponent draws like a land or something. So they think they can't go for it. Because if they draw dead and I've got like a stubborn denial and a fatal push, I could stub this burst lightning, take 7 off the lava dart and the stormwing entity, and then be able to kill them on the crackback by just like fatal pushing the swift spear and swinging. Which I still could if they're not careful. Something like a dismember here would be lethal for our side. But if you think I've got dismember, then it doesn't matter. But opponent did just kind of have it all right there. Ah. Rough one. Impetuous Devils. 6/1 with trample and haste. When it attacks up to 1 target creature defending player controls, blocks it this combat if able. Beginning of the end step, sack it. So it's a big old ball lightning that, God, what's the word? Not invoke. There's a word for creatures that have that ability that force a block. What is that word? Somebody in chat help me out. I know it's not invoke. It's not intimidate. Goad. Is that it? Does that sounded all right? All right. Goad forces to attack another dismember or another opponent. All right, so it's not goad. What is the word? It's like, you know what I'm talking about though. There's an old elf that did it. So the purpose of casting the dismember was to get our shadow down that turn. If we didn't cast the dismember, we couldn't play the shadow. And we're just taking damage off of the Soul Scar Mage. So, like, it's a really good hindsight argument to say don't dismember because our opponent drew exactly Stormwing Entity. But I don't think that makes the play correct. But either way, the Sultai leagues were pretty fun today. So I might mess around with the build and play it again. I'm going to send everybody over to Fran, who's currently playing some Green-White Titan. So anybody who sticks around, feel free to share some love from the channel. As always, appreciate everybody coming and hanging out. Another good day of Shadow. Looking forward to testing a little bit throughout the week. Get ready for the challenge on the weekend. We haven't played a challenge in a few weeks, so we need to get back up in shape. But I hope everybody has a fantastic rest of their Tuesday. Stay safe, eat some good food, enjoy some good company. Thanks to the new followers. Other than that, yeah, I will see y'all back here tomorrow. Same time-ish, same place. And good luck for now.